Have you ever found yourself easily swept into negative emotions over a minor setback? Or maybe you've tried to control everything around you, only to feel helpless when things don't go as planned. Perhaps there are times when you feel lost in the rush of life, wondering how to find inner peace amid the chaos. And have you ever wondered how to stay calm and balanced when everything around you seems to be working against you? This is where Stoicism opens a door to enlightenment, offering profound yet practical principles to help us navigate adversity. Stoicism isn't just lofty theory, it's a toolkit for the mind, one that applies directly to our everyday lives. Rooted in the teachings of wise philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, this philosophy centers on inner growth and emotional control. By accepting what cannot be changed and focusing on what we can influence, Stoicism empowers us to master life with greater calmness and wisdom. These 10 Stoic lessons below will reveal the strength that comes from understanding oneself, maintaining balance, and cherishing each moment. These lessons are not only the foundation for resilience, but also a guide to finding true meaning in life. From nurturing gratitude to cultivating perseverance, Stoic principles will show you how to face challenges with grace and reach a state of genuine inner peace. Let's dive into each lesson, step by step, and see how they can transform your life. Perhaps this is exactly what you've been seeking to create: a more fulfilling, enduring, and tranquil existence amid life's unpredictable tides. These lessons remind us that no matter what happens, we have the power to find strength and peace within. So, without further delay, let's embark on this journey together. Number 1. Understand yourself. In Stoicism, self-awareness is considered the cornerstone of inner peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." For Marcus, self-understanding was an endless well of strength, helping him maintain his composure amidst life's challenges. By turning inward, he could master his emotions and reactions rather than letting them control him. One of the best ways to gain self-knowledge is to confront our own fears and insecurities. Have you ever asked yourself, what worries me the most? What makes me feel uneasy? Facing these questions isn't easy, but it's a powerful way to uncover internal barriers that hold us back from becoming stronger. Epictetus emphasized, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This isn't just advice, but guidance. Start by identifying your true self and live in alignment with those values. In modern life, we often see people afraid of judgment or criticism on social media, striving for perfection and universal approval. But when they confront those fears and realize that others' opinions don't determine their true worth, they find freedom and peace. They can live authentically, finding joy that isn't dependent on external validation. This journey of self-discovery is about realizing that peace doesn't come from others' approval, but from self-acceptance and self-love. To understand oneself, absolute honesty is essential. Think about how often we hide our true thoughts just to preserve a certain image. Imagine someone who craves success, tirelessly working to climb the career ladder, only to feel empty, stressed, and pressured. When they reflect, they may realize that their pursuit of success was more about earning others' praise than genuine fulfillment. Stoicism teaches us to avoid living the life we think others want us to live. Otherwise, we'll remain lost and never truly understand ourselves. Self-understanding is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. To foster this awareness, Stoics often encourage daily self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius would record his thoughts each evening, asking himself questions about his emotions, actions, and choices to gain deeper insight and adjust accordingly. You can do the same by journaling daily thoughts and feelings, which allows you to confront your true self, recognize what you genuinely desire, and examine your reactions. This practice is like a mirror for the soul, revealing hidden corners of our minds, genuine emotions, and thoughts. Others may not understand your actions, but what truly matters is that you know you're living true to your values and essence. This journey is not easy, but with persistence, you'll discover genuine joy and freedom. Start today with the simplest question: who am I? Number 2. Maintain moderation. Picture a common scenario. After a long, exhausting day, you return home and feel tempted to unwind through various pleasures, from binge eating and impulse shopping to endless social media scrolling. Each time you say, "just this once, but soon," things spiral out of control. Sound familiar? This lack of moderation often leaves us feeling drained, guilty, and can even impact our health. In Stoic philosophy, moderation is the art of knowing when to stop, when to say enough. Stoics don't ask us to give up all pleasures, but encourage us to exercise self-control. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you seek tranquility, do less." He meant we should resist every enticing distraction and instead focus on what truly adds value. This advice is incredibly relevant today, where we're easily swept into cycles of work, consumerism, and social media. I found that instead of juggling endless tasks, choosing a few meaningful goals and doing them well brings greater satisfaction. A prime example of moderation's power is the philosopher Seneca, a man of wealth and influence who still maintained a distance from material comforts to avoid being bound by them. Seneca famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Despite his power and money, he lived simply, refusing to let comfort distract him from life's real values. Can you imagine walking through a world full of temptations with that same calm and self-control? In Stoic thought, moderation means ensuring our desires don't become chains. One practical way to practice this is by setting boundaries for daily habits. For instance, you might decide to check your phone only at specific times during the day. Small actions like these help us experience the freedom that moderation brings. It's not about self-denial. It's a mindful choice that empowers us to take charge of our lives. Moderation also applies to how we respond to adversity. Life's challenges often hit without warning, tempting us to lose balance, sink into worry, or feel helpless. But Stoicism teaches us to view each situation calmly, discerning what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This mental moderation keeps us from spiraling into negativity or false hopes. Are you ready to challenge yourself with Stoic moderation? Reflect on whether you've learned to pause at the right moment, to exercise restraint in the face of temptation. True freedom often lies in rejecting what we don't need and choosing to maintain our inner balance. It's not merely a choice. It's the path to a fulfilling and peaceful life. Number 3. Appreciate the present. Once we grasp the importance of moderation, we can take a step further, learning to live fully in each moment of the present. While maintaining moderation helps us control desires and emotions without appreciating what's happening now, we miss the true essence of life. Consider a typical day. You might be working, but your mind drifts to future projects, worrying whether they'll succeed. When with family, you may be preoccupied with work concerns, finances, or yesterday's events. This pattern distances us from the present, allowing precious moments to slip away unnoticed. Stoicism teaches that valuing the present isn't merely a means to reduce anxiety. It's a crucial skill for a deeper appreciation of life. Think about it. How often have you missed the joy of the present, absorbed by uncertainties of the future? How many times have you overlooked your children's smiles or warm moments with loved ones because you were distracted by things that aren't truly part of the now? Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This suggests that by letting go and focusing on the now, we feel not only happier, but also free from the invisible pressures of the future. Simply put, we cannot change what has happened or control what is yet to come. What we genuinely possess is this moment, this present. So why not pause to appreciate the world unfolding around us? Stoicism guides us to treasure the present by finding joy in small actions, in seemingly ordinary things. Tomorrow morning, instead of reaching for your phone and checking notifications, take a few moments to breathe in the morning air, watch the sunlight fill the room, and enjoy the quiet. Those brief seconds can soothe the mind and remind you of the wonder in this moment. Imagine sipping tea. Rather than drinking it quickly to get back to work, take a moment to savor its flavor, feel its warmth, and enjoy each sip. This is embracing the present, living deeply in each moment, without being pulled away by fleeting thoughts of the past or future. When facing the present, ask yourself, what does this moment mean to me? What am I grateful for that I've overlooked? Am I truly present right now? These questions center our thoughts, reconnect us with reality, and deepen our experience of what's unfolding. Appreciating the present isn't merely a mental state. It's a way of living that unveils true freedom and happiness. By letting go of the past, easing our worries about the future, and immersing ourselves in every moment of life, we learn not only self-compassion, but also how to face any challenge with a peaceful heart. Stoicism reminds us that living fully in the present is the first step toward finding peace, no matter what life brings. Number 4, practice mindfulness. Have you ever found yourself doing something while your mind is somewhere else? This happens to me often, and Stoicism has helped me change the way I live by teaching me how to bring my mind back to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." In a world where everything moves so fast, we tend to think that handling things quickly is a mark of efficiency. Yet Marcus reminds us of the value of slowing down, of focusing on each moment and every task. In practice, this might look like washing dishes. Instead of thinking about what you have to do next, try to focus on the feel of the water, the sound of the bubbles. This focus not only reduces stress, but also brings a sense of joy to simple daily tasks. One of my first experiences with mindfulness was simply having breakfast. It sounds strange, but I had always eaten in a rush, my mind racing with thoughts of work and my to-do list. The day I decided to focus solely on my meal, savoring each bite of bread, enjoying the taste of coffee, I discovered something. Life becomes truly worthwhile when you pay attention to these small, fleeting moments. It was a light feeling, as if I were experiencing something delicate and precious that I had unknowingly missed. I also recall a profound moment in my life. There was a time when I was caught up in the whirlwind of work, constantly worrying about new projects and achieving goals. Despite my accomplishments, I felt exhausted and pressured. A friend introduced me to a simple mindfulness practice, spending 10 minutes each morning focused on my breathing. At first, it was difficult. Sitting in silence, with no thoughts, just feeling each breath in and out, seemed deceptively simple, but required patience. However, after a few weeks, I began to notice a shift. My mornings were no longer tense. Instead, they were peaceful, allowing me to face the day's challenges with calm. Another way to practice mindfulness through Stoicism is by learning to confront emotions without letting them control us. When we face challenges or feel anger, our instinct is often to react instantly. But Stoicism encourages us to pause and think carefully before acting. Once, during a tense work disagreement, I applied this lesson. Instead of responding right away, I took a few moments to breathe deeply and reflect. As a result, I was able to respond calmly and thoughtfully, preserving the working relationship and easing my own stress. Mindfulness isn't complicated or grand. It's found in the moments we choose to live fully, to be calm, and to be still. So, are you ready to try living mindfully? Start with something simple. Just a little attention to your breath, a bit of focus on each task you do daily. You'll find yourself less distracted, calmer, and gradually living a fuller, more meaningful life. Number 5. Cultivate gratitude. When it comes to cultivating gratitude, Stoic philosophy doesn't ask us to be thankful only when life is calm, but to extend our gratitude even during challenges, when things don't go as planned. Have you ever considered that you could be grateful even for obstacles? Epictetus once said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This quote invites us to see gratitude not as a focus on what we desire but haven't attained, but as a deep appreciation for what we already have. In the fast pace of modern life, we are often swept up in future goals, forgetting the simple values already present around us. Each morning, waking to the sunlight is reason enough to be grateful. A humble meal, a gentle breeze. These are the small gifts of life we often overlook. By nurturing gratitude, we learn to live fully in the present and realize that happiness isn't solely from grand achievements, but also from everyday simplicities. I remember a friend who had just endured a serious illness. He shared that, before his illness, he was always chasing career goals, relentlessly pursuing societal recognition. But lying in a hospital bed, he realized that the most precious things were health and the presence of family. Since then, each day he wakes up, he feels profound gratitude for life and cherishes even the simplest moments with loved ones. This is a powerful example of gratitude's strength. When we recognize the value of seemingly ordinary things, we begin to feel true, deep happiness from within. There's a simple exercise recommended by Stoic philosophers. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. It might be an enjoyable conversation with a friend, a morning coffee, or the peaceful feeling of watching the night sky. When we are grateful, we stop comparing our lives to others because we recognize that each person has their own blessings. This is the freedom Stoicism encourages us to attain. You might wonder, how can I be grateful for the hardships in life? Stoic philosophy teaches that obstacles and difficulties are some of life's most valuable lessons. By accepting and appreciating challenges, we develop patience and inner strength. When adversity strikes, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" Questions like these help us uncover the deeper meaning behind everything that happens, enabling us not only to overcome, but also to grow through each experience. Gratitude, once practiced, becomes a powerful source of motivation. It helps us see abundance even when life isn't perfect. Start today by noticing the smallest things around you, for it's only then that you can truly experience life in its deepest and most authentic form. Number 6. Develop compassion and empathy. Before moving forward, I want to sincerely thank you for being here with me on this journey. Your presence is a powerful motivation, showing you're ready for a meaningful life guided by the spirit of Stoicism. Let's keep moving forward together. You may wonder, in a world full of challenges and turmoil, is compassion a weakness? Does opening our hearts to understanding and sharing others' struggles make us more vulnerable? The Stoic answer is no. Compassion in Stoicism doesn't imply weakness or surrendering to emotions. Rather, it stems from a profound understanding of human nature. In times of pain or hardship, compassion helps us set aside judgment and view things through the lens of understanding. Someone you meet may be enduring hidden crises, a colleague might be grappling with family pressures, or a stranger on the street may be struggling with private pain. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple wisdom reminds us to listen and empathize, a small act with great power, as it reflects a readiness to understand and share in others' difficulties. Imagine arriving at work and finding a colleague irritable, responding harshly, and avoiding others. Your first instinct might be frustration, questioning their behavior. But if you pause and listen, you might learn they're facing personal problems. This small act of empathy helps you approach them with understanding rather than judgment, allowing you to help if needed or simply not take offense, freeing yourself from unnecessary negative emotions. Stoicism also advises practicing empathy, even with those we disagree with. This can be challenging, especially when someone seems opposed to our values. Yet, these moments offer unexpected growth. I've experienced this by dedicating time each day to thinking about someone I often disagree with, not to dwell on their faults, but to explore their perspective. Once, a co-worker whose style clashed with mine often frustrated me. But learning that she was single-handedly raising a young child, with little time for precision, changed my view. This understanding didn't just increase my patience, but made it easier to work together, creating a more positive environment. Practicing compassion allows us to live with strength, not through power, but through kindness. Ask yourself, when was the last time I genuinely understood someone else's struggle? Sometimes a bit of listening and empathy can transform someone's day and, in doing so, change our own lives as well. Number 7. Stay resilient in difficulties. When faced with adversity, our first response often involves feelings of helplessness and fear. Some may fall into despair, believing life is working against them. But Stoicism invites us to view challenges from a different perspective. Imagine this: you're going through a tough time at work, perhaps due to a loss, a failed project, or personal goals that seem out of reach. How will you respond? Instead of retreating or feeling resentful, Stoicism encourages embracing those emotions and using them as opportunities to learn and grow. We must cultivate the habit of asking ourselves, what can I learn from this situation? How can this be a chance to become stronger? Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." His words remind us that every difficulty, every obstacle that appears to block our path, can instead light the way, revealing untapped strengths within us. Resilience is more than merely withstanding storms. It's the journey that helps us uncover our deepest selves, which we may not fully recognize in our daily lives. Reflect on the difficult moments in your life. Have you ever faced a setback so overwhelming that it felt insurmountable? Often, these challenges are turning points that help us see life from a new perspective or open a different path forward. History shows that successful people aren't those who have never failed, but those who stand back up and learn from those failures. This resilience not only helps them overcome personal struggles, but also becomes a source of motivation and inspiration for others. One story about Edison that I often share is particularly illuminating. In 1914, at over 60 years old and with a vast research complex under his name, Edison faced a devastating incident. His entire lab compound went up in flames. Years of research, inventions, and work seemed to turn to ashes overnight. For most of us, such a loss might lead to despair or a sense of defeat, but Edison was different. Watching the fire consume his life's work, Edison simply smiled and told his son, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." Facing profound loss, he remained undaunted, calmly accepting it as a natural part of life. Just one day later, Edison began rebuilding with remarkable enthusiasm, declaring, "All our mistakes are burned up. Now we can start anew." If we take Edison's lesson into our own lives, could we welcome failures and unexpected setbacks as chances for personal growth? Sometimes these moments aren't endings, but the start of something greater. So, remember, no adversity is ever without purpose. Number 8. Pursue perseverance. Through challenges, we learn resilience, standing firm in the face of hardship. But resilience is just the first step. Once we've confronted and endured adversity, the next crucial trait is the ability to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead is uncertain or filled with obstacles. This is where the Stoic virtue of perseverance truly shines. It not only helps us survive, but also drives us to continue taking steps, one at a time, toward our ultimate goal. Perseverance isn't merely about trying one more time. It's the courage to keep going, even when faced with setback after setback. Imagine you've just completed an exhausting project at work, pouring in countless hours and energy. Yet the outcome goes unrecognized, met only with silence. Disappointment and discouragement rise, and you might think, why am I even doing this if no one cares? This is when you need to ask yourself, am I doing this for recognition or because I genuinely believe in the value of this work? Sometimes we need to reconnect with the original reasons that drove us to begin, staying committed to them, whether others notice or not. As Seneca said, it does not matter what you bear, but how you bear it. Or think of marathon runners. Day after day, they train relentlessly, enduring pain and frequent setbacks. Climbing one hill after another, each stretch demands an even greater level of perseverance. But through these trials, they not only strengthen their bodies, but also fortify their minds. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? In times of difficulty, remind yourself that each obstacle is an opportunity to train your perseverance, another step closer on the path you've chosen. Stoicism also teaches that perseverance isn't about stubbornly resisting adversity. Instead, it's about flexibility and acceptance of reality. Epictetus once said, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will, then your life will flow well." Here, he advises us not to expect everything to go our way, but to accept and keep moving forward regardless of what happens. Perseverance isn't clinging to a specific outcome, it's the strength to press on, even when things don't unfold as planned. These teachings reveal that perseverance is not only a virtue, but an art of living. It's the ability to confront challenges without retreating or evading, a way of building inner strength amid life's storms. Ask yourself, am I holding back or hesitating because of fear of failure? If the answer is yes, then here lies your opportunity to persist, to face those challenges head-on. With perseverance, we can see beyond immediate struggles and draw closer to a life where we are masters of our own fate. And perhaps, as Marcus Aurelius said, what hinders you today may be the very key to your success tomorrow. Number 9. Embrace humility in knowledge. On my journey through Stoicism, I've realized that intellectual humility is a core principle essential for our spiritual and intellectual growth. This humility doesn't mean abandoning our knowledge or abilities, but acknowledging that knowledge is boundless, and each of us is merely a drop in the ocean of understanding. Have you ever noticed that the more you learn, the more aware you become of how little you truly know? This feeling is a natural part of intellectual development, and humility is the anchor that keeps us open-minded and eager to learn. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This is not just a reminder to be open to differing perspectives, but also a call to practice humility, especially in knowledge. To deeply understand something, we need compassion and a progressive mindset, ready to listen and learn from anyone, regardless of their background or expertise. This requires putting our ego aside and recognizing that we all have blind spots. Those around us can help reveal the gaps in our understanding. Consider a new colleague at work who has limited knowledge in your field. Instead of seeing yourself as superior, ask, is there something I can learn from their perspective? The truth is, Everyone has something to teach us, even those who seem less knowledgeable. Epictetus advised, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When we become overly confident in our knowledge, we close the door to further learning. Arrogance becomes the greatest barrier to growth. Intellectual humility opens us to learning from others and shields us from the mistakes of complacency. When we're aware of our limitations, we tread carefully, avoiding hasty conclusions and gaining a broader view of complex situations. To cultivate intellectual humility practically, ask yourself, what might I be missing? Or what can I learn from this person? These questions foster an open attitude and a realization that there's always more to learn. The essence of Stoicism isn't about accumulating knowledge to prove oneself, but about nurturing a way of life that leads to sincere understanding of the world. Intellectual humility keeps us from being trapped in self-satisfaction, paving the way for sustainable growth. By knowing our limits, we learn to respect others and avoid arrogance. In Stoicism, every moment is an opportunity for growth, and humility is the key lesson guiding us toward awareness and inner peace. Number 10. Be open to change. By practicing humility and knowledge, we learn to recognize our limits and view life with modesty. Now, as we conclude, Stoicism presents us with another core truth: openness to change. Life is in constant motion, and change is inevitable. Imagine waking up to a major shift. A loved one departs, a career opportunity disappears, or you're suddenly adjusting to a new environment. Instead of resisting or blaming, Stoicism encourages us to accept and adapt. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change," reminding us that transformation is natural, and wisdom lies in moving with it. Accepting change, however, is challenging. Unplanned shifts can unsettle us, breeding anxiety and fear. For example, losing a long-held job may trigger sorrow, anger, or even the urge to assign blame. But Stoicism teaches that instead of fixating on negative emotions, we should see change as a chance for growth. Change, in all its forms, invites us to explore ourselves and our potential. Imagine living comfortably and then facing a big change, moving to a new city or ending a relationship. These shifts, while daunting, reveal new facets of who we are. They prompt questions like, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? These reflections bring meaning to change and clarify what truly matters. Openness to change also strengthens our emotional resilience. Letting go of rigid expectations that things must go my way fosters calm and clarity. Seneca emphasized this, noting, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person." Embracing change empowers us to face life with calm resolve. In the end, change opens doors to new paths. When one door closes, another opens, and by welcoming change, we unlock unforeseen opportunities. Remember, change is essential to Stoicism. Embracing it with a steady mind and open heart transforms every challenge into a chance to grow. Are you ready to face change with a Stoic spirit? In today's complex world, Stoic principles like maintaining moderation, valuing the present, and showing resilience in adversity can empower us to live a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. These teachings not only aid us in facing the external world, but also guide us inward to understand, accept, and continuously improve ourselves. I hope that through these reflections, you find inspiration to live with greater strength and tranquility, ready to embrace both the joys and challenges life brings. Remember, change is a constant, and by cultivating ourselves with Stoic lessons, we can move forward with a peaceful heart and a clear mind. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. It's a small but meaningful way to let us know this content has supported you on your journey of growth. Share your thoughts on the Stoic lesson that resonated with you the most. It may just inspire others who seek peace as well. And if you know someone who could benefit from these philosophies, share this video to spread the values of Stoicism. Lastly, subscribe to our channel to stay connected. We have more wisdom-filled lessons waiting for you. Thank you, and see you in the next video.